Good afternoon and welcome to the Exchanges panel for the Cardano Summit. My name is John McPherson. I'm the Exchange Relationship Manager here at the Cardano Foundation. We have a great panel today on how exchanges enable market adoption. Things you're going to learn today are how exchanges support the growth of the blockchain ecosystem and how exchanges evaluate blockchain projects. So I think we should start with introductions. I guess Oscar will go first, then Adam, then Ben, and then Quan.
Okay, thanks so much, John. So I'm Oscar, and you can also call me Lane. I'm from Huobi Global. Right now, I'm covering the investment side for our listing department. I joined the industry like for 4 years. I really enjoy the exponential growth of this industry. I'm very pleasure and honored to be here with all the great panelists. Thanks so much.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam O'Neill. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Bitrue. I've been in the cryptocurrency industry for about 3 or 4 years now, and I'm very happy to have this opportunity to come and speak at the Cardano Summit.
Hey John, this is Ben from the Woo Network. I'm on the marketing side here as well, but a lot of the roles that we play within an exchange has a lot to do with growth, and business development, right? So we're very excited to be here, just as someone who has, experienced the Cardano ecosystem over the last few years and seen it get to the point that it is now. So looking forward to the panel.
Hi, my name is Quan Park. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Bittrex Global. I've probably been in this space for over 8 years now. It's been a while. I believe we were one of the first, if not the first exchange that listed Cardano back in the old Bittrex Inc. Before I joined Bittrex, I used to be a derivatives lawyer based out of Washington, D.C.
Perfect. Thanks everybody for the intro. We have a great panel today. So I guess we can hop right into it. Over the last 9 months, we've seen some explosive growth over the space, whether it be Elon or other things sort of blowing up the market. What are some things that you guys have noticed over the last 9 months that are different than previous years that we've run into?
Okay, I think maybe I can go first. So as just now, John, you mentioned that Elon or joined this industry. I see there are like 3 big changes for the past several years. I think the first one is that we can see more and more institutions join this market, like Tesla, ARK Investment, Goldman Sachs, and Fidelity. So many people compared this year's bull market with 2017. They would say this is like an institutional bull market. So that's the first one. And second one, just now also mentioned that more and more like a key technology and investment leaders, they join this industry, like Cathie Wood and Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey, etc. And the third thing I think is the most important is that we would say that this year is more important for the regulation. And we could call this regulationary year because we can see more and more countries and governments, they are exploring how to regulate the crypto industry to ensure that industry could enjoy a more healthier development. So I think these are the 3 changes that I've seen for the past several years. Thanks so much.
I think one of the most interesting things that I've personally seen over the past 9 months or so, there's been a serious rise in competitors to Ethereum, looking specifically at the smart contract space. So for years and years, if a project needed smart contract functionality, then everyone has kind of defaulted to Ethereum for that purpose. But within the last 9 months, we've seen Cardano, obviously. You've just recently completed the Alonzo hard fork and have smart contracts on the go. But also Solana has been a huge success story in 2021. Polygon is another big one, Shinfin as well. I don't think this necessarily spells the end of Ethereum or ERC20 coins. But I think seeing this kind of competition is really exciting for spurring on development in this space.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think both of those comments are right. We're seeing the rise of institutions. The institutions that I saw coming into this space were, maybe 3-4 years ago, were mostly mostly folks that were trading their own funds, right? The proprietary trading institutions. Now we're seeing more funds coming in. A lot of that probably has to do with regulation. We need clear rules. I think people are starting to trust the space, some of the parties in the space. That's very important. Security is very important. Coinbase with their IPO, and you see a lot of companies in the space that are actually becoming bigger than traditional financial institutions. It's building that trust and really coming back to the last comment is there's more competition to Ethereum, which is good, but we're seeing some of these developments, some of these wallets. Bittrex has probably seen over 1,000 blockchains over the span of its lifetime. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but you're really seeing communities form, develop, and keep working on these projects. Cardano is one that we're very excited about. And with that, you're just going to naturally see people get excited and enter this space. So, um, you know, trust, regulation, innovation, like all of those things together.
Yeah, if I could add on to what everyone said here, and I think this ties in more maybe to the theme. Like one thing we're seeing definitely is like a paradigm shift between the powers that exchange has had over the industry, whereas before they were kind of the gatekeepers in a lot of ways. You know, they had the users, the tokens had to come to them as a way to get access to these users. But now we're seeing, you know, a lot of the projects, obviously DeFi is building their own exchanges, and then the exchanges have to innovate, right? They have to find ways to connect these different ecosystems together, right? And then that creates like more mutually beneficial relationships there. And then of course, finally, like you see a lot of these exchanges, the products are turning to the platforms themselves, right? To the building on DeFi or building yield products within these blockchain ecosystems, right? So the balance of power has shifted a lot, and I think that's a good change because it's forcing exchanges to innovate in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as you had mentioned, Ben, the role of exchanges does continue to change and involving greater participation with the communities. How do you see exchanges adding value beyond these trading venues? What other venues do you see exchanges adding value to the ecosystem with?
Well, I guess I'll go first this time. I guess our role at Woo Network, we're a little bit different because we're liquidity providers. So we try to work with a lot of exchanges, such as the ones that you have here as well on the panel, to make sure that the liquidity is like aggregated and supplied across. So that's one utility that we provide, and then just linking, I guess, these DeFi ecosystems in bridging that, because that's really what we want to avoid is having all these fragmented, liquidity across all these different networks and exchanges. So that's one of the I guess the core values that we try to provide, and we're going to try to provide even more going forward.
Perfect. And all right. So now on to due diligence on projects. How are exchanges these days with things? We've noticed a lot of rug pulls. We've noticed a lot of projects. It's very difficult to navigate the space of which projects be legitimate early off the bat and which projects are not so much. So how are you guys performing due diligence on these projects to see if they are legitimate or not, or worthy of adding?
I'm happy to go first. Uh, our listing procedures have evolved over the years. A lot of that has to do with regulation. Obviously, we're always seeking. Uh, people say we want rules, but you need. It's so that we have clarity to operate the business. Bittrex Global, the spot exchange for our utility tokens, we're licensed in Liechtenstein under the Blockchain Act, and every asset that we list has to go through what we would call 3 levels of due diligence. So there's technical due diligence, of course, corporate project due diligence that we conduct on all the teams, and then there's legal and compliance due diligence. So negative news screening, making sure all the partnerships they claim are real, um, and and also making sure that the asset is not a financial instrument or an e-money product in the European Union. So, like for us, I think it's great to have that guidance, the clarity, and it's one of those things that we look for, or one of those things that the project has to go through in order to get listed. Now, as far as like what's going to succeed and what's not, and you know, I'm no expert. If I was, if I could predict that, I'd probably running a fund right now or doing something different, right? And we're an exchange. We're agnostic. We're here to give projects a chance to get access to our users. We all know blockchain is all about network effects. So we're here to be an incubator, not by just investing in projects per se with money, but giving them that platform to thrive. So we're always looking for good projects. There's no right answer. There's trends all the time. Technology is always evolving, and we're just here to support it with clear rules that we have under the Blockchain Act.
Perfect. Oscar, Adam.
Yes, I think for Huobi, I think the similar as Bittrex, we also have a very strict and very in-depth due diligence process, not only for listing but also for investment and potentially like for incubation. So first of all, we have a very big team. Even before the due diligence, we have initial screening. We also have evaluation. Then we'll come to the very in-depth due diligence. We have a team to conduct that, and usually that will take about like 2 weeks or even longer, because we think the regulation would be one of the most important factor for every asset that we list or every project that we invest. This is the first thing. And the second is that when we do the due diligence, we'll do on many dimensions. For example, the team itself, especially the core team members and the product and even their investors. So basically, we have very strict due diligence to make sure that we follow every regulation. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, adding on to what Oscar said, like obviously we're more because we tend to aggregate liquidity from other sources, and so we work with other exchanges. So I don't think we're as retail facing maybe as the projects like Huobi or Bittrex or Bitrue will be interfacing with. So I guess we have less headaches on this side in terms of trying to separate the wheat from the chaff and making sure the regulation's on point. But it's very interesting to hear from guys like Oscar and Quan, because they must be doing this quite a bit. I would be curious what their personal ways of like evaluating these projects must be.
So at Bitrue, we have kind of a very open company culture. So what we encourage everyone at our company to do is to keep an eye on industry news all the time. So whether you're senior management or just like a customer service intern, we encourage everyone to point out growth areas and coins that they believe have the potential to grow quite significantly. So once we've kind of identified these high potential coins, we then have a listing team of 4 to 5 people who will then, they will go out and research the coin. They will then start speaking directly with the team members to make sure that they're legitimate and that they are a project that our users will find very valuable.
Yeah, I feel this builds on it builds a bit on my earlier point about like the paradigm shift, right? Because I don't think back at like 2017 or before that this was happening as much. But now you look at like Huobi Labs, the stuff that they're doing, and in terms of incubation and being proactive, investing in the space and building ecosystems themselves. So it's quite a different ballgame than we were seeing before.
Definitely. So as far as adding base currencies, where you see like Ether USD and BTC USD, other pairs like that, what are considerations exchanges look at when looking at whether to add a currency as a base currency or not?
I think number one by far, it has to be liquidity. So if we add a coin as a base pair and then we add a dozen different trading pairs that nobody uses, that's not only a waste of time for our tech team to get all that done, it actually ends up being quite dangerous for the subset of users who do end up trading on those pairs. For 90% of traders, like when they go to an exchange and make a trade, even if they're making a market order, they're expecting that trade to happen at roughly the headline price that they're seeing, give or take a fraction of a percent. They're not doing the quick calculations on the order books to make sure that the liquidity is there. So we need to be 100% sure that when we launch a base pair, that liquidity has to be in place. That said, we actually have an exclusive announcement to make today that I'm sure is going to be very warmly received by the people watching this. Bitrue is actually about to launch ADA as a base pair. We're going to have it available with most mainstream coins, like XRP, which we're famous for already. And in the very near future, we're also going to be listing a variety of Cardano-based coins. And when they come to Bitrue, we will have them available for trading with ADA.
Perfect.
Okay, I think besides liquidity, some other very important dimensions that we look would be the very first one is the product itself, or the cryptocurrency itself should be with real value, for example, lending or trading value, etc. That's the first. And second, we would also evaluate the team after, in the bulk of this product. We hope that the team itself is with a long-term vision team and want to build a long-term project which would benefit the crypto industry. That's the second team. And the third one is we would also look at the potential growth of the cryptocurrency or the project. For example, for AIDA, we see a trend that more and more projects seek to deploy on AIDA network. So from which I could foresee that there would be a huge growth of the whole AIDA ecosystem. So for this kind of project, we would add that as a base currency. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'll just quick comment. I agree with Adam. Liquidity is certainly key when you're launching. We call it a quote currency at Bittrex Global, but in launching a quote currency, as well as mainstream adoption. I think Bittrex Global is looking at several quote currency aside from the 5 that we have today: BTC, ETH, USDT, US dollar, and euro. I believe CHF and GBP are next. I think we're fortunate enough to have the banking partners to be able to do this in a proper way to offer fiat markets to our customers or quote currencies. But I would say Cardano is definitely up there. We have a lot of wallet holders. We're very close to Crypto Valley now with the spot exchange being in Vaduz, and it's something we're exploring. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add on this one. Just I think the recipe is quite simple, really. Like if there's volume and there's demand from clients, then it's something you consider, right? And then you just have to look at like what everyone else touched on: liquidity, the ability to like hedge risk. Obviously, we're like our background is more in the trading space, so we don't want to have exposure to illiquid assets, right? So that would be it. And then I guess it was. A nice little announcement there from Adam. I kind of regret not bringing one on my end.
Nice. So, as you guys have mentioned before, this is sort of the year of regulation. And besides regulation and all these coins coming out now, what do you think are the largest adoption hurdles that you guys are facing? And how do you think they're going to be solved? I know it's sort of a tricky question. But I guess what do you see as the biggest adoption hurdles in the space at the moment?
I'll just jump in real quick. So one thing that I still notice in this space, and maybe it's because I'm not out there trying out different platforms or whatever, I still find it fairly difficult to use cryptocurrency or moving funds from one venue to the other, or using it as a payment method, or trying to find a place that accepts crypto assets or digital assets, whatever you want to call this asset class, for use. The tax rules, that kind of touches on regulation. It doesn't make it very friendly for us to use it. I do think I'm very bullish. I think it will change. There will be a world when you don't need a US dollar quote currency. You can have BTC, ETH, Cardano quote pairs, and still be able to realize real value in the world. So ease of use, obviously, access. Still, I think there's things to work on there with regard to fees too, that the end user has to kind of take as part of the transaction. But we're very close. This is a much different world than I saw 8 years ago. Lightning Network. There's tons of different protocols popping up, which is just going to make this thing just I think get bigger and bigger each day, and it moves so fast.
Yeah, I have to agree with Quan here, actually. I think the technical knowledge that's required just to get started, buying and trading, things like just setting up your wallets, or if you go into an exchange, making your first deposit using whatever fiat currency you're using, these can all be really intimidating to any person who isn't comfortable with technology. And if that wasn't enough, you're asking these people to transfer hundreds or possibly thousands of dollars at a time. So it's no wonder that people get turned off in this respect. There have been some interesting attempts to solve this problem, though. I'm thinking of Pay ID from Ripple. That launched about a year ago. It was a system you could set up kind of like an email address for sending and receiving coins easily, instead of using like a crazy long wallet address. But I think the adoption hasn't been as high as I expected it to be at that time. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to improve over the next few years.
All right, perfect. So now with the rise of NFTs and all these trends starting up again this year, what are some interesting market trends from the exchange perspective that you guys are seeing coming up recently?
Maybe I can start on this one. I was thinking about what I would say to the last question. These two are kind of related, these questions, and I'm glad that nobody said staying out of jail was the biggest challenge. I guess that's changed in this generation. And yeah, there's definitely a bit of strength in numbers that, as all these exchanges are working towards a compliant future, right? It's definitely helping. And I think in terms of, your question about trends, right? This industry by nature, there's so much instant gratification, and these users constantly, want to have access to the best products, the newest products. And I think that creates a lot of challenges for the team to kind of filter what they devote resources to. Obviously, a team like Huobi would have a lot of resources. And then some of the other exchanges, they might have to pick a focus, right? And then, for us, it's definitely looking and, you see things like the NFT space, you see other exchanges building their own blockchains. And then it's really about just kind of picking a trend that you feel has sustainability, has value to your users, isn't going to be damaging to your reputation. And then I guess you got to, take a chance on that as well. So that's, that's part of being innovative. That's part of being in this space. And, we wouldn't be here if we weren't interested in capitalizing on all these new trends that we're seeing. I'll let somebody else jump in here and see what they have to say.
Okay, I'll just add. So I think for the trends, very interesting. Recently, we can see, especially starting this year, early this year, we see there's a kind of like a bull market, right? But there's one very interesting phenomenon is that there's always waves. For example, we have seen the DeFi waves, and then we have the NFT waves. But of these waves, we can see bubbles there. For example, if we take CryptoPunk as an example, like last month, the floor price of the CryptoPunk goes up very, very quick and also very high. But recently, if we see the floor price is already about 80 Ethereum per CryptoPunk. So I think with these waves, we can see many ups and downs. And I hope that in the future, when this industry becomes more and more mature, maybe these waves, ups and downs will be like more small. Yes.
Oscar, what are you seeing on the current wave with all the L1s and the side chains? Are you placing any bets on any of the networks?
Yes. So we're saying that maybe the next wave would be the layer 2. Right. They're competing like a very, they're very high competition for the layer 2. And recently we see many layer 2 projects, they already come out, right? And many products and many projects are deployed on them. So this might be the next wave. Who knows?
No, agreed. All right, so moving on with the rise of DeFi, has exchanges looked at considering smart contract development to offer innovative solutions to their customers, new solutions?
So at Bitrue, we've actually been considering and just prototyping a feature. It would be kind of like a centralized access point to all of the various smart contracts that are out there that are involved in the DeFi yield farming right now. So let's say you're a user who has USDC in their portfolio. There are a lot of places you could potentially be using that USDC for farming, and it's really hard to know, which one of those is going to give you the best returns. So we're kind of thinking about launching a tool where we can not only recommend the best protocol for investment, but we would also handle everything in the most user-friendly way. So we do all the the investing and the harvesting for the user. It's still very early in the prototyping phase, but it's something that we're thinking about launching a few months down the line.
Okay, perfect. So I noticed that Bitrue has delegated to community pools through their ADA staking service, and the community thinks that's great. I'm wondering, what are the attitudes of exchanges in creating their own stake pools versus delegating to public stake pools?
Well, maybe I can go first then, as we have the experience now. So Bitrue, so far in total, we have staked to 2 community pools so far. The One Love stake pool we did about 2 months ago, and then just very recently we also staked to the Shamrock stake pool. Each of them we staked 1 million ADA, and the response we got was absolutely fantastic. Been great for community building. We've been able to connect with a lot of stake pool operators that we haven't announced anything publicly with yet, but stay tuned on that front. We felt it was very important, basically to help contribute to the decentralization of the space. Obviously, decentralization is what keeps the network strong. And yeah, we just thought it would be great to contribute to the various community efforts that are helping to build up the Cardano network.
I'll just add at Bittrex Global, Cardano staking is very, very early. I would just call it a beta. So Adam, we're gonna have to connect at a later date and talk about your experience at Bitrue. See if we can get some guidance from you guys.
For sure.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a different situation in terms of we cater to more like institutional traders, right? So we don't tend to have as many people staking on our platform. But it is really important for other exchanges to have these features for users to engage with the products, right? So we look forward to seeing that, and then we're able to provide liquidity to these exchanges or these traders, and then it just creates more demand for the tokens rather than just being more speculative in nature.
Perfect. All right, gentlemen, I think that wraps up the list of questions we had for the panel today. Thank you very much. Now, I just wanted to go around one last time. Maybe Oscar, Adam, Quan, and Ben. Any notes you want to leave the community with? Anything you want to just sort of leave on a note? That I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, key takeaway from Bitrue, I would say, is just look forward to the ADA base pair coming up very, very soon, hopefully later this week. And yeah, we have plenty of Cardano-based tokens coming to Bitrue very, very soon. And thank you very much, John, for having me here to speak about Bitrue today.
Okay, so because I cover the investment for Cardano ecosystem projects, so I would say that, as I said just now, there are a lot projects that I talk with, they are planning to deploy on the ADA network. So I would say maybe there will be a big potential for the ADA ecosystem, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Same here. Thank you, John, for having me and Bittrex Global being represented on this panel. Just one thing, we'll always provide support to our Cardano marketplace. We're very close to the foundation, and in terms of proximity now, we really like that fact. As far as the community goes, I mean, we're always here to listen. We're looking for new innovations on Cardano. We want to talk to the projects. We want to hear feedback, and just help grow. Bitrue, Woo Network, Huobi, we're all represented on this panel. I think there's tons of room for all of us to kind of work together to grow this space and to support good projects and foundations like Cardano. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I guess I'll just wrap up my side by saying that it's very exciting to see that Cardano is coming out with smart contracts now, because that's going to open up so many more opportunities for DeFi projects, which will bring more tokens. So I'm probably going to want to compare notes with Oscar at a later point to see what he's seeing in the Cardano ecosystem. And then just, like you said, learning from guys like Adam and Quan about what products they're doing, and then how like Woo Network fits into this in terms of supporting liquidity on the institutional side. And then extending that even onto the Cardano, network itself by helping to be a bridge, because ultimately that's what we want, right? We want more users to be able to access these products, because that grows the industry as a whole, creates a bigger pie, as we like to say, and then everybody gets a bigger share. And that's the ideal situation for all of us.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your continued support of Cardano. And yeah, thank you very much. And it's been a great panel.